Dao De Jing, Chapter 52. This is a chapter about origin, and what it costs to forget where you came from. The original text, in pinyin, Laozi pronounced Laozi, Tiānxià yu shi, yǐwéi Tiānxià mu. Jai zhai kai mu, fu zhai kai zai, jai zhai kai zai, fu shu kai mu, mo kai bu dai. Si kai duis, bai kai main, zhōngshēn bu kin, kai dui, jai kai shi, zhōngshēn bu ju, jivan xiǎo o yu míng, shu ru yu guāng, yāng kai guāng, fu ki kai míng, hui shen yong, shi wei zai chong. Translation: the world has an origin, and that origin is the mother of the world. Knowing the mother, you can come to know the children. Knowing the children, return to hold the mother, and until the end of life you will not be endangered. Stop up the openings, close the gates. For your whole life you will not be exhausted. Open the openings, multiply your affairs. For your whole life you cannot be saved. Seeing what is small is called clarity. Keeping what is soft is called strength. Use the light, return again to clarity, and you will leave no calamity to yourself. This is called practicing the constant. The chapter moves in 3 parts. The first is the mother and children image. The mother here is the origin, the ground from which all things arise. In the Dao De Jing, the Tao is often described this way, not a thing among other things, but the source of all things. The children are everything that emerges from it, the world in all its multiplicity, all its particular faces and names and forms. Laozi's point is not that you should ignore the children and fixate on the mother. It's a cycle. You move out into the world, you learn the particular things, and then you return. You don't stay permanently out among the particulars, and forget that they all come from somewhere. The return is what matters. What gets people into trouble is not going out, it's having no way back. The second part introduces one of the more concrete images in the text. The openings, the character Chinese letter dui, refers to the apertures through which we engage the world, the senses, the passages. The gates are similar. Main, the doors we leave open or closed. When these are stopped up and closed, Laozi says, you will not be exhausted for your whole life. When they are thrown open and you pour yourself into affair after affair, you cannot be saved. This sounds like an argument for shutting down entirely, but that's not quite right. The contrast is between 2 different relationships to the world. One in which you are driven outward, scattered by appetite, obligation chasing obligation, craving feeding craving, and one in which you remain connected to a source while still engaging. The image is about what drives you, not whether you act. There is something recognizable in this that has nothing to do with ancient philosophy. A person who is perpetually stimulated rarely perceives anything clearly. They only react. The channel is open, but nothing is actually coming through it. The passage suggests that closing periodically is what keeps the channel working at all. The third part gives 2 lines that sit together. Seeing what is small is called clarity. Keeping what is soft is called strength. Both invert what we usually assume. Clarity, we tend to think, means seeing large things, the pattern, the system, the decisive moment. But Laozi says clarity is seeing what is small, the early signal before the crisis, the shift in tone before the break, the small legible things that come before the large dramatic ones. If you can see them, you are not reacting. You are reading. Strength, we tend to think, means hardness, capacity to push, to resist, to endure. But Laozi says strength is keeping soft. The young branch bends in the wind and survives. The rigid one snaps. Water shapes stone not by force but by continuity. Softness is not absence of strength. It is a different kind of strength, one that doesn't deplete itself in resistance. Then the close. Use the light. Return to clarity. Leave no calamity to yourself. The phrase at the end, zai chang, practicing the constant, is worth sitting with. This is not a description of a permanent state you reach. It is a practice. You go out, you return, you use, you restore, you engage the children, you come back to the mother. What does this chapter offer someone living now? Not a case for withdrawal, not permission to close the door and stay in. The chapter is not against action. It is asking whether you have something to return to. Most exhaustion that doesn't resolve, the kind that accumulates across months and doesn't lift, comes from having no place that replenishes. Everything is going out, nothing is coming back in. All gates open, all the time. Every demand flowing through without resistance. The mother image offers a different orientation. There is something prior to the activity, something the activity comes from. The chapter is not asking you to name it or explain it, only not to lose track of it in the middle of everything else. Seeing the small, keeping the soft, these are not passive stances. They are disciplines that require more attention than force does. The chapter trusts you to work out what they look like in your own life. The world has a source. Knowing it, you can move through the children, returning to it, you will not be worn down. This is what Laozi calls practicing the constant. Chapter 53 follows.